All right, afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed their first day of Ignite and you're powering through the home stretch of day one. So if you don't know which room you're in the room to get an overview of Microsoft FastTrack and how Microsoft FastTrack can accelerate your journey to deploying and using Microsoft 365. So my name is Lee Sabo. I'm one of the marketing leads working on the FastTrack service, and we're Uh-oh. We will resume.
There you go.
All right. Is the sound working in the back now? Yeah. All right. So repeating that briefly, we're going to cover Microsoft FastTrack and how it can accelerate your journey to use Microsoft 365. My name is Lee Sabo. I'm one of the marketing leads for FastTrack, and I'm joined by Jeff Nickel, who's the engineering leader, a customer, Debbie Finley from Sprint, and Kurt Humes, who's an engineering leader as well on the FastTrack service. And our goal with FastTrack is really to be your partner for the success that you want to achieve with Microsoft 365. So just to get a gauge of the room and kind of where everyone is, how many people here have heard of FastTrack before walking into this room? All right, that's a good start. How many people have actually engaged with the FastTrack service? So not too many. And how many people, I guess, by process of elimination, everyone else is here to kind of learn what FastTrack could do to help them? All right, decent show of hands. And if there's something else I didn't cover, we're going to have a lot of Q&A at the end of the session. So what we're going to do over the next kind of hour 15 minutes or so, an overview of the Microsoft FastTrack service. So what do we offer? I'll go pretty high level, and then Jeff is going to go into some more details. We're going to hear from Debbie about what a customer engagement looks like and how FastTrack worked with them to help establish their business goals and drive what their business is looking to achieve. Kurt is going to cover a new service that we're announcing that's part of Microsoft FastTrack called Desktop App Assure for application compatibility. And then we'll do a quick kind of a walk through the website and see how to get started. And we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. So please stick around to ask questions. We've got some swag to encourage the asking of questions. So prizes for sticking around until the end. So in brief, Microsoft FastTrack, we aim to be your guiding point and your guide to help you achieve success with Microsoft 365. So pretty simply, our team of engineers and resources around the globe, they can help you onboard to Microsoft 365 services and take your data from wherever it exists on another service or on-premise and put it into our cloud. We can help you deploy chat-based collaboration and productivity. In other words, we can help you get going with Microsoft Teams and Office Pro Plus. For EMS, we can help you enable identity, device management, and modern security. So deploying Intune, thinking about how to use Outlook Mobile across your environment to increase productivity in a secure fashion. And new, we're beginning to offer application compatibility services for the modern desktop. So as you move to Windows 10 and stay up to date with Office Pro Plus, FastTrack will have your back to ensure that apps stay compatible as you move forward. And of course, along the way, we'll think about the things that are the key focus. So how do you gain user adoption and realize business value out of the investment that you've made with Microsoft 365? And it's important to realize that it's not just us saying these words, it's us delivering it from our engineering organization and partners. So it's delivered by experts who work with tens of thousands of customers, and it's part of the service that you pay for. It's part of the Microsoft 365 or Office or EMS or Windows subscription. It's included at no additional cost. So when you buy that subscription, you're eligible to leverage these services to be able to drive and extract value from them. Just to be super explicit, everyone in the world can leverage our standard FastTrack resources. We have a website that we'll go through with a number of digital tools and automated resources that's available to every customer. Most customers here at Ignite probably have more than 150 seats in their subscription. That entitles you to work with one of our Microsoft resources or partners to help guide you one-on-one from a position of expertise through your Microsoft 365 journey, whether that's with EMS, with Office, with Windows, or ideally all of them together. Data migration, so for our team to help you put your data into the cloud, it's a little more reserved. We require a 500-seat minimum to work on that. But it's a very accessible service at scale because we want every customer or as many customers as possible to be able to leverage assisted help to be able to deploy and use Microsoft 365. And FastTrack is our investment in that. One thing to note on this is that it's not a one-and-done type of thing. This isn't something that you can think about, okay, I've already used FastTrack for just one thing, now it's time to go away. FastTrack is a repeatable process that you can go through over time. So say you've taken your data and gotten it up into Exchange and you're onboarded to Mail, but you're interested in getting started with Teams or deploying Intune, or you want to move to a modern desktop, FastTrack is available for the life of your subscription. As long as you've got a subscription to Microsoft 365 and our services, you can come back and engage with the team over and over again, or even retain the same FastTrack engineer or manager over the years for an ongoing relationship, as long as, of course, they're still in the job and you're still doing the same role as well. And partly because this is what we believe, that it's an ongoing process of deploying technology. The same way that we update our products, FastTrack is there to stand with you and work with you as you evolve how you're approaching your use of technology in the organization. So over time, we've developed a process that's, I'm going to say, it's not too radical. It wouldn't be earth-shattering, but it's a repeatable process that we go through with tens of thousands of customers. And very simply, we plan, we onboard, and then we drive value. You could almost think of this in a virtuous circle, that over time, we're always in a state of working with you to plan, onboard to a service or update that service, and then extract the value from it. And we've developed a number of tools, best practices, and resources that the team will guide you with as you go along your journey. So when you think about planning and assessing, our team can help you define your vision for success. So we help identify and prioritize the scenarios for your success plan, and we have some automated tools online to help you create that success plan. We also have a session coming up later in this week that spends 75 minutes detailing what's really the process to help to develop that business case and create the best plan for success so that you have champions, stakeholders, and user groups that are all pulling together to help make your technology roll out a success. Then as we get to onboard a service, this is where our engineering team really comes into play. When we think about what are the tasks and best practices that have come through over time to enable each of the services and scenarios and solutions offered by Microsoft 365. We have a lot of our standard technical guidance, but also specialist resources that come in because everyone does have a unique scenario that pops into play. And that's where our resources can come in with either the best practices or pulling in a subject matter expert to help remediate and enable a service and really turn it on. And from there, it's time to actually go use the service because we know that just once you turn on the service, you've got to do a lot more than that. You've got to actually deploy it out to your end users, enable them to actually go in and use it with tools, guides, and best practices to enable that success plan for the adoption phase of your rollout. Because the real measure of success and how we measure the success of ourselves is whether or not you're using the product. If you don't use the product, we haven't been successful. And the FastTrack team of helping you go from purchasing a license to ongoing usage and engagement with the service over time. And that's where we come to thinking that the people that we engage with are really key to that transformation and driving the value. There's ourselves, the customers, who are obviously the most critical to us when we think about who are we going to talk to. But a question that also often comes up in our engagement is, okay, I've worked with a partner for many years. Will you work with them as well? The answer is yes. And of course, there's our FastTrack team. I'm going to let Jeff talk a little bit more about kind of the specific roles and responsibilities for these. But before I do that, I just want to mention that with partners, we do work very closely with partners throughout FastTrack. Because FastTrack, we see ourselves as a remote service, and we stand by remotely supporting and backstopping both yourselves and partners as you go through a deployment. But with a partner engaged, we work with them to have a close customer connection, and they're able to be on site, customize their service offerings. They likely know a lot about your environment at a much greater depth than we do, and they can have an ongoing relationship, often over time. So we always work with partners to the extent that sometimes we actually even deliver the FastTrack service through a set of very specialized partners known as a FastTrack Ready partner. So sometimes when you work with us, you'll actually see us bringing in or working with a partner who has actually been working with you over time, and they're actually trained and approved by us to deliver the FastTrack benefit. They can reach out and bring in the same subject matter experts. They reach out as part of our engineering teams. They have access to the same tools, and they get the same training that our engineering teams do as well. And it's just a way for us to continually close the ties with the ecosystem and deliver a better product to you as you go to deploy and use the service. So with that, I'll invite Jeff Nickel, who's the general manager of the FastTrack engineering service, to come and go into a bit more depth about the role FastTrack plays.
Thanks, Lee. Is this one working? Can you hear me in the back? Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to hear about FastTrack a little bit today. We've been doing this session a couple of years, so I'm glad to see some folks. I guess on one hand I'm glad, and on the other hand I'm not glad that not everyone is completely aware of FastTrack. The driver for FastTrack, I think, is probably an important point on why should I work with FastTrack, or what's this thing from Microsoft. It's got a pithy name called FastTrack. Sounds like a traditional marketing name. The real goal here was to, we were looking at the cloud. A lot of customers are struggling to get there. And from an engineering perspective, we're constantly putting dollars, resources into the product itself, as you'd expect. Feature, feature, feature. Of course, some of the features are the admin consoles and the things that you use, but we were wondering why was it taking these customers so long to use the cloud. And the investment here wasn't just around build, kind of on the left side of the screen here, but also around deploy and use. And we looked at ourselves and said, hey, we weren't really spending time on that deploy and use question. And that seems kind of basic and somewhat obvious, but we were used to expecting, hey, content, partners, everybody else would kind of figure it out later. Events like this would help, certainly online approaches, but we recognized we didn't really understand these problems at scale. And that's really one of the biggest changes that we tried to understand with FastTrack is how do we do this stuff at scale? What we mean at scale is across thousands, all of our customer scenarios. Of course, we can work with any one customer and help you through that. But how do we deal with from the very largest customers to the very smallest customers? And that was a goal of FastTrack. And we can't do that through others. We had to get the data ourselves. So one of the first things here was around getting every customer to cloud. Again, not just the largest, because you would expect kind of Microsoft would invest more resources in the bigger customers, but how do we even go down to the smaller customers, and not just 150? As was mentioned, the resources are available to the below 150 customer. And what underpins this entire concept or even challenge here was there was a cloud promise. When you purchased Office 365, and when we were first talking, it was called BPOS, if you remember that era. I think before that was called something called MMS. And I went through those different phases with you, for better or for worse. But certainly now it's for better. And there was always this promise of, hey, the cloud is there. It's wonderful. Just go use it. And that sounds great to the business folks until the IT guys come along and they go, yeah, but there's a lot. That sounds good, but there's a whole bunch of work to get there. And that promise, we didn't feel like we delivered on that promise. And we needed to understand the challenge. And that's where this cloud promise and mindset really started to bother us. And we had to invest further. And FastTrack was a significant investment for Microsoft. And that dollar sign wasn't just because we spent a lot of money. It was around reducing the cost. And that was from a customer perspective. Because we heard from a lot of customers, hey, I bought this thing, the licenses, yes, that was a tough negotiation. I got to some point, I have the licenses now, but then I found out how much the thing really costs to get there. And suddenly it looked like traditional on-premise or traditional, build servers and install them yourselves and manage them yourself. And we had to do something about this cost. Also time, of course, those two are intertwined. Deploy cost and time, and it was really a matter of how many resources do you need, how many resources do you have to purchase from somebody else. The next one here was around this was really our internal goal, and it still is today, and we still get a little confused sometimes because we want to do more things with people, which isn't always the best approach. What we really want to do is understand the product. What are the challenges in just, why can't I run the admin console and press the setup button? Why can't I just do that and go out and magically discover my Exchange environment or my existing SharePoint environment or set up my world for Teams? And that's really our goal. We're still continuing down that path. And that's instantiated. If you look in some of the admin console, you'll see something called setup guides. So that's a visualization, what we'd like it to be. We thought we could build this perfect path from beginning to end for every scenario. That was a fool's errand, frankly. We backed off that and said, hey, what we can build is there's some common scenarios, like let me set up Exchange Hybrid. Let me understand how you want to deploy Pro Plus. There's a number of those common tasks that we can stitch together in the admin console, and that's really what the setup guides have become. So the admin console, and if you saw the announcement today, we released the admin.microsoft.com, phenomenal change. That's brought all the components of M360, or Microsoft 365 in one space, and that has some setup guides within it. And so you can imagine the scope of trying to say, let's figure out how to deploy Windows, Office 365, EMS, those components, Azure AD, that space, trying to get that into one magic setup button, that's probably a little tough. So we took the approach of, hey, there's going to be individual threads that you're going to drive through, and that's where these setup guides have landed. And then deliver a common user experience. You know, we also heard from a lot of customers of, hey, I had a great experience with this partner. And the next one, wow, I had to do this all on my own. And I didn't know where to go. And I was searching around the internet randomly. I was looking at, I got a link from TechNet, and I got a link from, I called support, and they said this. And then I asked my partner, and they said that. And they're asking, where do I go? And we wanted to have a place to land all these questions and hopefully a consistent experience. Now, I'm certainly the first one to know that, hey, not every experience with FastTrack is the exact experience that every other customer's had. But we do have an approach. We also have, if you are looking for, hey, why am I not getting this resource? That's usually just because we haven't connected you with the right person. So there isn't as Lee described, you purchase, then you have rights to FastTrack. There's different levels of service that you get, but that is a consistent experience, again, versus where we were in the past. A lot of the questions around FastTrack are, hey, does this thing work? How many have you done? Yes, of course, we're Microsoft. You expect us to have some knowledge. But I think it really helps to set the stage of when I talk about scale, and not in a, hey, look how big we are and how great we are, but in the lens of, hey, how much information have you really been able to amass, and does my scenario fit? Can you help me with my scenario? And that's really what deployment comes down to, is understanding this common box of Office 365 with a whole bunch of knobs, and how do I make that thing work in my environment? And that's what these results here hopefully can help at least paint a little bit of the picture. So far we worked with about 60,000 different customers, and there's different levels of engagement. Some are really deep, some are not as deep. Some are looking at content and asking us some questions. Some are really looking at support questions. Success plans. This was something that we also stumbled onto about 3 or 4 years ago around, hey, we were asking our customers, this word success. Great, what does that mean? Every customer has to define that in their own way. And we wanted to build a workflow to ask a series of questions to say, what are you really trying to achieve, and how would you determine this is a good state at the end, or the definition of your success? So we've also evolved the product. The success plans have changed over time as the products evolved. But those have become, I think, a helpful guide to helping customers understand how they could possibly think about this massive products called Microsoft 365 now. And the last data point there is around migration. Data migration is always one of the biggest challenges and scary points in a deployment, especially when you're talking about active business data. Mail data, file data, and apps that are and workflow that's built around that. And that was clearly one of the biggest cost points that we heard customers complain about, or really concern about. Hey, I can't get to this thing because it costs me too much. And what can we do to help with migration? And the migration problem was really something that Microsoft had ignored. We knew we could do a lot better. We knew we needed to build not only tools, but we also needed to help you with process. Because a lot of data migration is about how you communicate to the end users, how you schedule the users, how you do the migration, you work the issues, and then you follow up after it. And that process, no matter how great we get within the admin console or the UI, you're always going to need some people to help you with that. So we provided additional tools. From the mail perspective, the cost has come down more than 10x. Those are our internal costs. But it's been a dramatic reduction in how we can run data migration at scale. And you see the numbers there, it's 12.6 petabytes. And that just happens every day. There's a bunch of customers migrating every day. And I have a slide here, we'll talk about what source systems. Now, the other question is, and there's kind of two questions here, is what does FastTrack help me do? Does it really help me with the time? And the bottom number there is what we've seen across all the customers. If you look with and without FastTrack, the average time to onboard using FastTrack is about less than 1 month. That is some third-party data trying to assess what happens with and without FastTrack. The other question I get is, and it's a fair and obvious question, is how long does it take? Well, that's certainly a depends on your scenario question, like any good consulting answer would be. But it's also one of those, give me an order of magnitude. Like if I'm a 1,000-seat customer, if I'm a 10,000-seat customer, and the average that we've seen, we measure something internally around what we call time to 10%, and the average we see time to 10% across all the customer sizes is in the 60 to 90-day range. And again, you got to start looking at size of customer, you just start moving across there. But we actually have some data now to say, hey, on average, it can take about 2 to 3 months to get to the first 10%. If you get to the smaller customers, you can get there in 30 to 45 days. But those were questions that were hard to answer prior to FastTrack at some scale answer other than kind of a consulting approach of, well, let's talk. The last point here on this is, there's a FastTrack center or resources across the world. You can see the locations there. We're currently supporting 12 languages. Those are people languages. People can communicate in those 12 different languages. The digital experience or content is in 27 languages, and then we have approved partners across the globe. And that's really helping us with that localization and the having someone close to me that I can work with. So here's some of the questions. I mentioned one around time earlier, but these questions are something that we get on a regular basis. And it's often at the start of this deployment. Say, how do I manage all these different buckets of concerns? Security is a common concern. How do I protect my user and their accounts? Can we work more securely from almost any device? Of course, there's a bunch of content questions. You see these nice demos, and we show all this stuff integrated together, DLP and auto classification. That's awesome. And now how do I take that and make it applicable and actually happen within my company, right? It's typically not just check the box. There's usually a bit of work that goes along with that. And that's where we thought we needed people to help you sift through the massive information to answer some of your questions. And one question for one set of customers is going to be different for the next set of customers. So no matter how great we think we get at these wizards, we still believe there's going to be a set of people needed to help interact and sort through your scenario. Identity is another common concern, a really big concern. It's usually the first thing. Of course, you deal with network first. Are you going to kill my network? How am I going to get there? And then identity is, hey, how can I not only get my existing accounts over without having to deal with new passwords, but of course, how do I deal with MFA? How do I deal with ping or have some other third-party authentication environment? Those concerns, again, are very unique. Reading a document can often be very hard to find my scenario and get the answer. Data migration, of course, I talked a little bit about that. The process of data migration is a big concern. Does everybody go together? Do we do a big bang migration? We get a lot of that question. How do I do a big bang? Or should I do this, dribs and drabs over a set of users over X months? And then the last one, a really important one, and it's often missed. Certainly my background wasn't around adoption or driving, quote, success or usage, but something that we've evolved towards is usage or driving adoption. And that's really about change management, and then providing you not only content, but how do you think about that? That's actually some of the questions we added into the success plan. And that, in fact, it was originally called the deployment plan. We shifted it to the success plan because of that. Hey, we're really missing the point of change and release management and ensuring that users actually know why this thing is in front of them and how can I get some business value. Here's some of the details of what does it actually provide. It's like, it sounds great. Are you sure? Is it really free? Are they any good? Are the resources any good? You do get, this is mentioned a little earlier, you get access to assign FastTrack specialists throughout your subscription. That's really important. This isn't just I bought. It's whenever I do something new or I need help with some other workload or even turn on some feature, like DLP comes along. How do I manage DLP? Onboarding guidance and technical direction. We're going to help you assess your current environment. That's one of the very first things we do. And the next thing is, now what do I need to fix? We call that the remediation plan. Of course, you're going to want checkpoints. We want checkpoints, frankly. One of the things we hold the team to is ensuring there's progress along the way. And one of the best ways to ensure progress is that we're checking in. So we'll often, I like to, lovingly call this pestering you, but we want to ensure that you're progressing. And we want to ensure that we have a connection so we can understand what challenges you might be facing. And if you tell us to go away, we'll certainly go away. But we really do want to hear from you. Deployment migration guide, you would expect that. You hear guidance and content and best practices all the time. And then a set of activities to increase your user value and adoption. And the adoption piece might be a little foreign if you've been focused on IT. Some of the questions we'll ask around why would an end user use this? What is the scenario that we're going to communicate to that business unit or that business manager around why Teams is good for them? The next one here is around guidance for supported services. So Active Directory, again, remediation. Network is a question that you can't get away from, right? This question of what's it going to do to my network? I just had a customer meeting a little while ago, and one of the questions was, do you have a network tooling, something that can tell me where I'm going to have issues in my network? So we can certainly help with network strategies. There's certainly a new strategy that we recommend around how you connect to the cloud versus how corporate networks are typically configured today. We can certainly help assess and have a discussion. We're not going to run a bunch of tools across your environment, but we can tell you how to go about and how to think about that, as well as how have other customers approach this network challenge. Of course, that's a per workload discussion. And it's very specific to where you're coming from, what source system you're at, and where you're trying to go. And then, of course, the timing. Are you trying to do all the workloads at once, or you're doing them independently? Password reset and MFA, really common questions. Of course, MFA sounds really scary, especially with the old world of smart cards and physical things all the time. Now there's other options around multi-factor. Deploy and manage app and device security as you start not only desktop, but also the mobile devices. How do I think about not only the mobile device security, but the app security on top of it? That's really a new area and I think a new approach in thinking to how do I look at mobile device management and security. And then app compat, and Kurt will talk about that here in a little bit. Email and file migration. There are a lot of questions around this. And what do you support? You can see the list there. We've been doing those for quite a while. Especially on the mail side, the SharePoint migrations, file share, Google Drive, and Box. Those are all different source systems. There's no one tool that answers this. It's also a good point as to why do we have to do this, because we learn a lot about what's real in market and where we need to invest, Microsoft needs to invest. So we use a combination of both internal Microsoft tools as well as third-party tools on top of people and process to get those migrations completed. And the last one here is best practices, and again, I kind of, everyone says best practices. Well, be a little more precise. That's really experience and access to not only resources, being people, but also content, tools and setup guides, the adoption planning workshop. That's this kind of odd discussion. But if you haven't gone through hey, not only am I going to technically get this, but how are we going to land this with the end users, and how do we time that? When do we send communications? How often do we send? How do we get them to actually see the value? And is it just sending emails that they're going to ignore because you've seen them 100 times from IT before? Or is there other approaches that you've seen customers use? Training, as well as some help desk assets. We've been asked for, can you help me with the load on the help desk? That's a common question. How do I help manage the pace of change? If I'm running a bunch of new software, how am I going to deal with the next day when I change 1,000 users over, they're going to flood my help desk. This is mentioned around what does a customer or partner provide. It says or partner, because you can look at all these items and say this is really things that FastTrack doesn't do. Right? I always like to look at a statement of work or anything like that and look at out of scope. That's actually more insightful than what's in scope, because then you know what's not included. And this is kind of how you look at that. We would love for the customer or a partner to do this work. We just need someone needs to help us work through this activity. And when you look at it, you kind of get, well, it probably makes sense. Project management really from your internal perspective. How are you going to communicate which business unit first? How do you get your other IT and supporting departments lined up? And then on-site readiness and training. Note the word on-site. FastTrack is primarily designed around a remote service. We do provide some on-site services for select scenarios, but it's primarily designed for remote-based support. The remediation and hands-on configuration. You likely don't want Microsoft with full admin rights to your domain and typing in and changing things for you directly. You probably want to have control over that. If you don't want to do that, fully recommend the FastTrack partners to perform that activity for you. You can see some script authoring. Do we provide scripts? Can we help you show you how to run them? Will we demo the PowerShell for you? Absolutely. But the actual pressing the button to execute that, we really want you to do that and or your partner. The actual changes to the Active Directory, hybrid, you can see network configuration and bandwidth testing. Custom scopes of work. There's often some very specific things that are unique. I mentioned some third-party authentication, third-party authentication approaches. There's a number of scenarios where, hey, this is something that I know I need assistance with. Significant network changes, deep network assessments, such as going site by site, looking at actual bandwidth, available bandwidth, trying to map that to what's there today versus what will be there tomorrow. And then, of course, custom app and script development. File and mail migration for less than 500. Again, this is where I think the out-of-scope works, because you can see less than 500 seats. FastTrack doesn't support file and mail migration. Directly with people. The same tools that we use are available for you to use for file migration below that. And then the last one here is change management and process optimization. There's a lot of business process that can be impacted, or you don't have to necessarily impact it, but certainly Teams, SharePoint workflows can drive a lot of business process. That's not something that's included with FastTrack. We would highly recommend a partner, and it's because you can't scale that. It's very unique to each customer scenario and each business demand. End user communications, do we provide all the templates? For you something to customize, to send out to your users? Absolutely. That's part of the success plan. Help desk documentation and again, custom product training delivery. That is, kind of the traditional feature set training. Can we recommend partners do FastTrack? Partners provide that? Oh, absolutely. But it's usually for a fee, and that's really how, dependent upon your scenario. So with that, I wanted to transition a little bit. You heard enough about Microsoft talking about FastTrack, and I've probably talked about FastTrack too much over the last 7 or 8 years. I think it's great for me to hear from our customers how they interact with FastTrack. And with that, Debbie, do you want to come on up? So Debbie Finley is with Sprint. I think it's not a company name that I really need to introduce. I think everyone's well aware of Sprint, certainly one of the world's leading telecom providers. And Debbie and her team have been working with FastTrack, and I wanted to just get your view of first let's talk about your role a little bit, and then talk a little bit about how you work with FastTrack and some of your experiences.
Okay. I am the manager of the Enterprise Communications and Directory Services teams at Sprint, and those teams were responsible for deploying Office 365 to the company.
And can you give us a sense of the size of Sprint and the work that you had to undertake to get to Office 365?
So we have, currently, we have 41,000 employees and non-employees that have mailboxes in our environment.
And from a existing environment, can you talk a little bit about not just the size, but was it where you wanted it to be? Did you feel it was aging? Kind of what was the driver to start down this path of Office 360, all the perceived pain and change issues to get there?
Yeah, we definitely had an aging infrastructure. We, because of cost reduction efforts that we had done in years past, we hadn't upgraded a lot of our environments for a long time. We had an Active Directory environment that was on Windows 2008 R2, and our Exchange environment was 2013, SharePoint was 2013, and Lync was 2013. So we had a lot of opportunity for needing to upgrade and provide more modern collaboration capabilities to our people. They were begging us for something more modern to be able to do, and they were actually going around us. They were going out and doing some shadow IT of their own to find solutions because we weren't providing them for them.
So so you had this shadow IT problem, you had this aging infrastructure, and suddenly I guess you landed with the licenses of Office 365, and then you had to decide now what? And I assume somewhere along the way, someone from Microsoft or the FastTrack team reached out directly. Can you talk a little bit about how you were engaged and then what the initial engagement was like with FastTrack and how you got started?
Yeah, we had purchased 38,000 licenses, and my VP came to us and said, we've spent all of this money on Microsoft. You need to deploy this as fast as you possibly can. And my director gave us a very aggressive timeline, one that was impossible to meet. So we had our Sprint account teams were talking to us saying, we want to help you, and we think we have partners that will be able to help you deploy these products and services faster, and they introduced us to the FastTrack team. And the FastTrack team provided executive briefings to our key stakeholders, the executive key stakeholders with Sprint, and they performed a bunch of workshops with us to talk about our current environment, and they talked about where we would want to go with all of these products and services that we had purchased.
Great. And along that discussion, I assume sooner or later you got into how are you going to do this migration? Were you going to do the big migration? Were you going to do the dribs and drabs approach? I was curious how you went through that discussion and then where you landed and how you went about the approach.
Well, we couldn't afford to do the drips and drabs because my VP was like, we need to go and we need to do it right now. We have a problem with the shadow IT. We need to solve this problem. And they felt that Teams was going to be the answer to our problems with shadow IT. So we, in order to get to Teams fast, Teams is built on, SharePoint, and it connects to OneDrive, and it has an Exchange mailbox. And so in order to do compliance for being able to search over conversation histories, chat conversations, we needed to migrate the mailboxes. So we started out with migrating mailboxes. That was the catalyst to getting your Office 365 license.
But at the end game was really teams. Those were really infrastructure or components needed to get there. Not that they didn't have value themselves, but the end game was teams.
Yes.
When you got to, okay, so I want teams. I want these other components as well. When it came to actually bringing them onto through the process, what did you actually do with the end users? How did you communicate with them? What was your timing? How did you get them engaged? Any approaches or particular tactics that you took?
Yeah, we had multiple tactics, actually. We had, prior to the mailbox being migrated, we sent multiple communications so that the users were aware of what was going to happen to them. We also performed welcome calls a couple of days before they were migrated, where we went through a presentation and told them exactly what's going to happen to you, and we allowed them to ask us questions. We also had a website that was set up for migration FAQs and information that they could refer to, and we had an expo on the campus, and we had 3,000 of our partners that showed up and wanted to learn about what Office 365 meant for them, and it was a wild success. And we also, the day after the migration, we had an ACD set up so that when your mailbox got migrated and you were enabled for all the Office 365 products and services, they could call into the helpline and ask whatever questions that they had related to their migration. If they had problems or, I don't know how to set up Outlook on my mobile device. I need somebody to walk me through it. So we had somebody there that would help them walk them through the steps.
Was there any particular, you mentioned a couple of things there. Are there any one or two of those that you thought stood out in those different tactics?
So the Office 365 Expo, highly recommend that. That was a wild success. And we actually had most of our partners, they wanted us to do more than one. They wanted us to do them once a month, actually. But it was quite the endeavor to put together for the first one.
Right.
And I think the communications, the multiple email communications were also very helpful.
Did you ever track how many people read them, or?
No. That's the thing. People don't read, right? That's why you send more than one.
So what's your next, so where are you at? Can you kind of summarize a little bit where you're at now, and then what you're planning to do next with your deployment?
So we've migrated 31,000 mailboxes as of this week, and we still have, and that's all of our employees, and we're going to concentrate next on non-employees. We also need to figure out what to do with distribution groups and group mailboxes, and from a technology perspective, we're working on Skype to Teams migration for voice. We're going to implement more security aspects of Office 365. We're really interested in Azure Information Protection and DLP. And we're looking into Autopilot and Windows Hello for Business and driving OneDrive adoption. We're doing pretty good with that, but we still need to get more adoption with that. And we want to get some more executive sponsorship, using more of the products and services and having a top-down approach where they're using it so it'll make everybody else start using the different products.
You mentioned 31,000. I think it's interesting. We were talking earlier about this around where you were a year ago. I think at this time, we just play back 12 months ago, what were you doing? To be too detailed, but what were you doing around this time? Were you at Ignite? Were you sitting through sessions? I'd be curious where you and your team was a year ago.
I was definitely not at Ignite, and never would have thought that I would be here today, quite frankly. We were negotiating the contract, and what we were going to do was just renew the perpetual licenses that we had always bought, because that's what we knew. And Office 365 was not something that we were even entertaining, and it was our account team, the Microsoft account team, that were persistent in saying you could go that perpetual route that you've always done, but you have a BYOD problem that you keep talking to us about, and you need to get away from your per device license model that you've always used and get onto a per user license model so that people can bring in those multiple devices that you are talking to us about. And so once they put it down on paper and showed us what it would look like if we went the perpetual route or if we went through for the Office 365 subscription process, it made more sense for us to go Office 365.
You mentioned BYOD. What about from a mobility perspective? Did you have that challenge and a device security challenge at all from mobility? As in both phones and non-PC devices?
Sure. At Sprint, we allow you to have individual devices. We don't issue mobile devices. And so Office 365, of course, is a huge mobile play. And in order to protect our data, we implemented MAM right from the start. So we containerize the data on the mobile device, and we make you use MFA, and we have a PIN on your apps.
And you did that from the start?
From the very beginning.
Yeah, so that was a question I also wanted to get into. We find customers kind of take two paths often. Either the path you took, which is the basically do the majority of the workload, we call workloads or products all at once. And the other approach is, and often it's centered around Exchange first and then other different workloads. What do you think drove your decision to go across so many workloads, including the mobile scenario, which we certainly agree with? What do you think were the factors in driving you to deploy all versus these kind of piecemeal approach?
Well, it went back to the Teams deployment. In order to take full advantage of Teams, it's built on, its backbone is SharePoint and Exchange and OneDrive, and we wanted our employees to be able to take advantage of all of these features. And my VP was a huge advocate of Office 365, and he was very much driven to get us out to the cloud and get all of our mailboxes out there and start using these products and services that we were paying for.
And one last question, if you don't, what was you think the value in Teams that your business saw? Is there any particular scenarios that stuck out around Teams that wasn't in your existing environment?
Yeah, Teams is the biggest driver is for our retail channels. It gives them the ability to, in a real-time manner, get on a team and ask questions about problems or issues that they're experiencing in either the solutions in the retail store, or if they just have questions about devices, they're seeing errors on the applications that we have them use to sell devices. It gives them the ability to ask those questions, immediately get an answer right back. And instead of, or if there's an outage in a retail store, they used to have to submit a ticket to IT, and sometimes that would take a couple hours before we would know that they were having a problem. And with Teams, they can report that up through their support channels and contact IT in a matter of minutes. And we know that they're having a problem, and we can fix it much faster.
And it's within all your retail stores now? They have
It is.
Teams?
It's been deployed to all the retail
Sounds like a great
stores.
use case.
Yeah.
And one transition question. I said last question. I want to add this to help transition occurred here around app. Was there any app concerns around, hey, we're doing all this change with Office. We got these new apps going onto the environment. Did you have any app testing approach or process or concerns around it?
So as far as Microsoft apps go, we have a desktop engineering team that is very talented, and they put a lot of work into developing the apps so that they can, not developing them, but configuring them so that we could get them onto our desktops and be able to deploy them out to all of our devices, our laptops that we manage for the end users.
Okay.
But as far as homegrown apps, that's another challenge that we're going to have to face down the road.
Great. Well, that's the 5-cent setup for the next transition, which is to Kurt. And Debbie's going to be here, so we're all going to stay around for Q&A if you have any questions around what Debbie's done. But I think it's a great customer example to look at, thinking they didn't have licenses this time last year, and now we're tens of thousands of users are over on Office 365. So I think it's a great story, and it's not just a couple of workloads. It's really the really, I think you can safely say it's AM or Office 365. So with that, I want to transition over to Kurt. Kurt, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there, Kurt Humes. I work very closely with Jeff, so my team leads the FastTrack motion for Intune and the new initiative called Desktop Apps Secure, or App Assure, which we just announced today.
Obviously, we just announced. We're still getting
Obviously,
the name
we
right.
just announced, right?
So can you tell me a little about App Assure and how it would be applicable to either the folks in this audience or...
Well, let me ask a question first. How many of you all are either moving to Win 10 or have gone through the motion to get to Win get to Win 10? Or okay, so mostly everybody's in the process. Is anybody complete with their Win 10 deployment? Great. All right. So, Desktop App Assure came around when we started talking to customers about getting to Win 10. You guys have heard January 2020, end of life for Windows 7. As we talk to customers about how to accelerate, what would it take to accelerate their deployments to Win 10, we found that customers still had, whether it was a real or perceived notion, that there are app compat issues in their environment which will prevent them from getting to Win 10. So they were worried about it, right? They went through the XP to Win 7 migration, and back in those days, there were a lot of app compat issues, as you guys probably remember. So we know that Windows 10 is by far the most compatible operating system that we've ever built. I mean, Brad talked about it in his session and said, I think it was 0.06% of apps have been identified with app compat issues with Win 10. So we've basically made statements to our customers saying, if an app works on Win 7, it'll work on Win 10. And we've created this program to, if those apps don't actually work on Win 10, we will help you remediate those apps to make sure that you can move forward with your Win 10 deployments. And that also extends to Office. So Office Perpetual, if you're going from 2010, for instance, or 2016 to OPP, and your custom code, macros, add-ins, things like that don't work, we'll also help you do that, remediate those so that you can move forward with your OPP migrations.
And if it's great you remediate, but now let's say it doesn't work. How is that process? What do I, as a customer, how do I engage with you, and what's the flow?
Yeah, so this is all part of the FastTrack program. So a way for a customer to engage our program is they will end up, and this goes live on 10/1. They'll go to the FastTrack portal, which you guys are all familiar with. And on that portal today, you can request assistance for any type of FastTrack service. We're going to add another form on that portal for the Desktop App Assure program. And it's a very simple form. We collect a little bit of high-level information about the customer, the point of contact, and then how many app compat issues you've identified. We'll get that information, and then we will reach out to you to talk about the issues that you have, and then we'll help you. We'll work through our existing programs that we have within Microsoft to evaluate those applications and then help you remediate those applications.
That sounds kind of like traditional support. What's different about this than calling support like I've done in the past?
Mm-hmm. Well, so a couple of things. One, when you call support today for an app compat issue, you either use your Premier hours or you get charged $495 for the call. This is free of charge. Okay, so you'll come in through our channel, free of charge, and we will work with you throughout the process of evaluating those apps and remediating those apps. Okay, so we are going to leverage some existing systems within Microsoft. So there's a developer support team, which is incredibly good at what they do, but we also have other teams that we can escalate to on the engineering side to evaluate the apps and, again, look for ways to remediate. And we're getting more deeply plugged into the engineering teams as well. So we'll have channels right into the Windows OS engineering team, as well as channels into the Office team to help more quickly remediate issues. So the goal is to identify workarounds, shims, whatever it may take to help accelerate your guys' ability to move forward.
So if you had to think about goals from kind of Microsoft's perspective of this and then really customer goals, how would you kind of frame the overall goals of both lenses?
You know, from your standpoint, it should be to accelerate your deployment, right? We look at the function that we're going to provide as a backstop, give you some assurance and some confidence that as you move forward with your Win 10 and OPP deployments, that if you run into problems, reach out to us. I mean, we're here. It's free of charge. So, you know, please use the service. You know, from our standpoint, again, you know, we're trying to get you to January 2020 as quick as possible. And I think for 2016, what's the date? It's shortly after that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, from our standpoint, we want to help you accelerate, right? We want to get you off Win 10. We want to get you onto Win 10 and onto OPP. But we're also going to learn, right? Because we want to understand what the problems are. And a lot of people have talked about this flywheel where, you know, we identify, we get more information about the types of issues you guys are having. We can get those into engineering. We can get those into the OS and fix these things at the OS level so that we don't continue to see these issues.
Kurt, what do you think about how are we going to look at the different types of problems out there? Might be an app that I wrote as a customer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Might be an app that's written by a third party.
Yep.
Might be something that sits within Microsoft. How are you going to assure me that all three of those types of things are going to be resolved?
Yeah, I mean, I just say, look, anything's in scope. So whether it's an LOB app that you guys have built and created, whether it's an app that you purchased from an independent software vendor, they're all in scope. Now, we will work closely with ISVs to help remediate those. What we found in our pilot, actually, is kind of interesting. We've had pilot customers come to us with issues around ISV-type apps. And in some cases, they had valid concerns where, you know, we've had to work with the ISV to try to identify an issue. In a lot of cases, there were later versions available that the customer didn't know about, and we just made that connection, and then they move forward. So we kind of runs the gamut in terms of the interaction that we have with customers with a specific app.
Is there any, you mentioned the pilot.
Yep.
Besides the app, is there any general comments around customers are reacting to the program and the feedback?
Yeah,
so
it's
far?
been super positive. We've worked with about 35, 40 pilot customers. You know, a lot of them are still, you know, amazed that we're doing this. But yeah, super, super positive. We had one customer, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 customer, about 600 apps in their portfolio. And after they did their analysis about what did and didn't work, they identified 4 apps that didn't work. And over about 5-6 weeks, we helped remediate those apps. And now they're moving forward with their deployment. So,
Well, it sounds like a good new effort for Microsoft to help our customers. I'm sure the obvious question is, so can I do this now?
yeah, good point. So we go live 10-1 for North America English only. And then we go live rest of the world on 2/1, so February 1st, across 10 different languages. So it's coming, well, next week we open it up to North America, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Kurt.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll get a few more questions.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'll stick around. And there's also another FastTrack session, I think, on Thursday morning. I think you probably have a slide in there about it. But they'll talk more deeply about that program as well. So thank you.
And with that, I want to bring Lee back up, and he's going to go through a little bit of the FastTrack actual web experience, or a little demo here.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. So we're actually going to do, this will be 2 minutes top, a quick tour of, okay, so where do I go to talk to the team, to take next steps, get engaged, to see where you go, input in either a success plan or fill out the request for assistance. I'm going to do a no-hands demo because I'm scared of the internet flaking out on me again, but also so I can roam around the stage. So if you click sign in and just click on the fasttrack.microsoft.com, you get to a nice view of kind of a dashboard of some success plans that are there. This is a test customer named Tagel, I don't know why. And you can see very quickly, you can get in and click a tab called Services, and there's the first button there is just Request Assistance. So we have something called a, click that again, sorry about this, it's gonna restart the video, don't quite know why. Sorry about that, accidental click. Very quickly, all you have to do is click one button, Start New Request, and it'll go through a quick flow of asking, okay, Do you have enough licenses to be eligible for the service? You can still submit the request either way. We'll just say you're not eligible if you have less. If you've completed a success plan, which we'll go to in a second, it would give you some a chance to talk about that as well. But really just basic info. Who should we talk to? What do you want to do? There are some other things we talked about as well, saying this new desktop app Assure. So from the same menu, there's going to be a new one right below that request that would have desktop app Assure. But if you're eligible for some other things or want to try to use your desktop to planning services or DDPS, you want to find a Windows 10 partner or request some help on Azure, all the services that FastTrack offers are available on this page. The main one is going to be that first link, but there's a lot available for you there. The other thing that's available on the portal are these things called success plans that Jeff mentioned, which is what are we trying to do? So we've developed in some basic online content so you can walk through this on your own. So with your team, solo, with a partner, or with a FastTrack person if you want to talk to them. And it basically maps to what are the scenarios from the business that you're trying to get done, and then what scope is that plan? What does success look like to us? It's really just a tool for you to be able to leverage if you find it helpful. It's something that we've built out of our, we call them best practices, a little generic, but it's a way to help you structure and think about what a rollout would look like. Not something that you have to use, but it's there because we found it helpful to allow customers to put it down on paper or on digital in a place that both our team, a partner, and yourself can all engage in the same plan. And there are also some of these optional areas, whether it's adoption templates or onboarding as well. So we're going to click into the onboarding template right now and show you just what are some of those questions that one of the FastTrack team might ask you. So if you want to, say, get a head start on, hey, this is an index of all the types of things that we consider when you get into the details of, like, what is your network like, to write it down so you've got all your information in one place. And again, this is something the FastTrack team would work with you on. But say you have only 10 licenses, 20 licenses, you're just kicking the tires, it's available free of charge to every customer that Microsoft has, whether or not you're working with the FastTrack team. And so there's a lot of resources here. This is only a very quick view, of course, of what's up on the portal. But we have templates like this for adoption. You can create success plans basically on any part of Microsoft 365, as well as punch-in services. And again, that's just on Microsoft.com/FastTrack or fasttrack.microsoft.com. Either way you say it or type it, it's going to work and get to the right place. So basically, if you want to go take an action with FastTrack, sometimes our FastTrack team reaches out, or your account team, if you're a very large customer, they'll put you in touch with FastTrack. But if you want to go to the site yourself, if you want to request services, very easy, just go to the website and click the button. Then you can do one of two things there. You can either create a success plan and start your own planning process, or you can just simply get the resources and ask for help, create that request for assistance to get some help from the team. So as Kurt mentioned, we do have a number of sessions. This is the first session. Pretty much everything that Jeff spoke about today, there's probably a deep dive session that goes into much deeper details on specific topics, such as 75 minutes about scenario building or 45 minutes about the modern desktop that Kurt mentioned. We have these handouts and flyers at our booth. It's right in the center of the floor if you'd like to meet with us. We're also scheduling one-on-one clinics, so if you want to spend 30 minutes or an hour with a FastTrack expert at our booth, feel free, come on up. We're scheduling those kind of first come, first serve to meet with an expert. If you tell us kind of what you're interested in, we'll do some matchmaking on site for some on-site consultations. And of course, we've got a blog that lists out this table as well if you don't want to walk the 25 miles over to the other side to the expo hall. And before Q&A, it's obligatory to ask, especially with a room of this size, but please fill out your evals. They're important. We look at them, and you've got the nice gratuitous screenshot of the old Nokias there. But evals are through the app, and we greatly appreciate your feedback, especially whether my jokes are good or bad. I already know the answer to that one, but that feedback is very welcome. So with that, I know we've got some time left over for Q&A, so if you wouldn't mind, just for the benefit so others can hear, if you wouldn't mind hopping up to a mic or raising your hand, that would be great. If not, I'll repeat it, but if you don't mind stepping over to it, we'll see. And then, I don't know, Jeff, Kurt, and Debbie, if you want to come back up here too, in case the questions are for you, that'd be great.
Okay, so we're starting our Microsoft 365 deployment journey. Today we have Office 365 available, but that's it.
You guys hear that?
Now, can we, sorry, we'll try that one more time.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. So we're starting our Microsoft 365 deployment. We currently only have Office 365 available. My question is, it's huge, it's complex. The project team doesn't understand Microsoft 365. We've worked with Microsoft for a long time, but we don't really understand this animal that's 365. What recommendation do you have for us? Anything that we need to do, any homework we need to do before we engage FastTrack? And our account reps have mentioned FastTrack several times to us.
Yeah, so is there anything for you to prep for? Honestly, no. We'd rather engage, start talking about your scenario and your specifics, than frankly wait for you to try and go find something. I mean, that's kind of contrary to what we're trying to achieve here is, you know, we did put the word fast in there. We want it to be fast, and we're really trying to simplify you sifting through our morass of stuff. We know we have a lot of stuff out there, and you know, I'd be happy to, you know, make sure you're engaged with someone. And you don't, it sounds like if you have an account team, you certainly don't need to wait. You know, just tell them, yes, please. In fact, I'd love to follow up to see why we haven't reached out to you if you're at a certain size, because that actually is our process for the larger environments. We look towards you.
I have a recommendation,
Yes, please.
if I can. If you have an MTC somewhere near you, or if you can get to an MTC, what we did early on was we took a contingent of people to the Microsoft Technical Center. And I had my corporate security people, I had the security risk manager, I had the network people, the VPN people, my enterprise communications people. I had desktop engineering there. I had representation from all of the IT silos that you have in your environment that are required to make the Office 365 deployment successful. We got them all in the room. We spent 3 days at the MTC. They walked us through what the engagement should look like. They answered all of our questions specific to our environment. And when we left, we felt a lot more confident in what we were trying to accomplish. And I had my Active Directory person there because the first step is getting Azure AD set up.
Much better answer. If you don't know what MTC is, called Microsoft Technical Centers. They're basically, you know, localized resources with a lot of servers and software available to basically demo and create an environment for you to envision.
Are there any statutes of limitations on when you could go after FastTrack resources? Like we have Office 365 under an EA that we've renewed a couple of times, but now we want to look at SharePoint or Project Online assistance?
Yeah, that's a very simple one. Absolutely not. There's no statute of limitations. The only limitation we have is if you're not using 100% of the product, and we look at the usage of all of our customers, and we pester ourselves, and I pester my team, and I'm pestered about why you're not using. So please engage with us, because if you're not using, we're not there yet, and there's no statute of limitations.
I think it was what you said earlier. You know, it was like a lost opportunity. When we originally went to O365, the FastTrack program was nothing resembling what it might be today. And we've done FastTrack for other items, and it went really well, but we kind of have these other services that are like out in no man's land now.
Yep. Again, please, if you want, send me your email. And if you're the admin or somebody driving the project, we'll ensure that people get connected with you. In fact, I'd love to know the company name, because I'm curious to understand where we're at.
Stick around.
Thanks.
Couple of questions. We have about 150 terabytes of content that we want to get off of file shares into SharePoint. We're already in SharePoint. We also have SharePoint 2010 migrations to do. So I'm intrigued by what you could offer to help with those data migrations. Some small, some large, and can an individual contributor engage with FastTrack, or do I need my manager's manager to initiate that process?
So let me answer the last one first.
Sure.
The last one, absolutely not. You can engage with FastTrack. If you're from a customer, which you are,
Yes.
you can engage with FastTrack. You can go to the site. You may have some internal controls. I don't know, however, you may manage that.
I
But
don't have to worry about management.
these are resources that are available to your organization. It's just like support or part of this product that you purchased. So it's really just to take advantage of that. So we don't need any approvals from our perspective to engage with FastTrack. There's kind of two aspects you mentioned there: file migration from on-prem traditional file shares, I assume, typical kind of UNC file shares, and then SharePoint 2010.
Yeah, we have 4 separate environments that have a lot of legacy data that we like to put into some enterprise content management into SharePoint Online. So we have the online environment set up. We just need to get their content off their old system. So it's going to be a laborious task, obviously, and just looking for assistance.
Yep. So the first part, file shares to one SharePoint or OneDrive for Business, is where a combination of two is really where people often end up, personal shares versus team shares. That is absolutely part of the FastTrack service. So we'll help you with that. Assume you have 500 seats or more for migration. We'll help you with that process, including people to schedule, pester you. Ensure you're moving, you're putting those batches in, you're moving the files, we're helping you get there. And then we'll work on any of those support issues or problems that you have in moving into SharePoint Online or OneDrive for Business. The SharePoint content migration, we're not offering that from SharePoint on-prem to SharePoint as us running the service. But there's plenty of tooling, approach, and resources, the people, to help you how to think about that, how to execute that. That guidance is absolutely part of FastTrack.
Okay.
So it's just doing the day-to-day execution. We provide you a tool set. We developed this tool set. Interestingly enough, I think it's interesting from my lens anyway, it may not be interesting to folks here, but we developed this tool set because we were doing those manually, and we said, this is crazy. We can automate a lot of this. Let's build a better tool. It's called SPMT. We're not great at naming tools. SharePoint migration tool. Shocker. That is what we developed because, hey, FastTrack was doing this. Can't we have customers basically do some analysis, querying, and see if they can move the content? So that's really the focus of the SPMT. So we'll provide you with the tooling, and then we'll do the other one direct. Right.
So coming into this, I thought that the FastTrack was primarily like a remote resource to bounce questions off and discuss things, and professional services had to be retained for any in-depth design or boots on the ground or anything like that. But it sounds like the FastTrack's a lot more involved than that. I mean, how deep do you guys get into helping us plan out migration, design, things like that?
Well, I would probably let Debbie's team, they could answer some of the questions. How deep we get?
Yeah.
We want to, there's no question that if it's something's missing or you haven't got the design answer, that's definitely our problem.
Okay.
So don't ever hesitate around the depth of the question, as we literally are organized and positioned intentionally within engineering. And those engineering teams want to know what the problems are.
So
and
where's
if
the
they're
role
not
of
gonna-
professional services come in then?
So let's talk about professional services for a
Okay.
second. Can we go on site in certain scenarios and the largest customers? Yes, we have done that.
All right.
We absolutely want, though, our partners to be successful in doing that on-site work because it's about positioning them and making sure they're closest to the customer in this scenario. But they are FastTrack ready partners. We didn't talk about them a lot. They're not just every partner out there. They're partners that we give them a resource that is also in engineering to support them and ensure that they're doing the deployments and the same approaches, and they have that same access to the resources. But they're, of course, more local to you, and then you can have that. So a FastTrack ready partner along with the FastTrack direct employee, those are really your two best scenarios to provide both the deepest question as well as the partner to do the local on-site work.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right, so I think we've got time for about one question and one swag bag left, so it's perfectly aligned.
Might be a little bit of a basic question, but when preparing to migrate Exchange, will FastTrack assist with any of the migration models, or is it specifically just like a cutover migration? Will they support hybrid?
Yeah, it definitely support hybrid. There are certain models that we promote because if we're operating the migration. Now, if you just have questions around, hey, I'm thinking about doing this myself, and this is how I want to provide that, that's absolutely something we'll give you all the best guidance and engineering support that you need to do that. If we're going to migrate it for you and do that, we have a specific approach that we want to take. But there are a couple of variations that we've gone through.
Okay.
But yes. And there's a swag bag with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. Yeah, I think we are wrapped. Thank you.
Thanks so much.